Hey everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, the traditional custodians of the land on which these videos are made, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides, and the universal energies. Ta-da! Looked like chopped liver 2 days ago, and don't they look fabulous? Thank you so much for all your advice. Just really quickly, what I'm doing is I'm washing my using on my face, neck, etc. Just plain, very plain micellar water, and a specialist moisturizer. So so thank you for all your suggestions. And yeah, obviously that liquid soap in the bin. Okay, entertainment only, and aha, me hearties, can we have the orange twerp walk on the short, a long walk off a short plank, hoist the mainsails, all the rest of it. Okay, as we are on International Speak Like a Pirate Day. That's about the limit of my pirate speak. Okay, what I want to have a look at in this particular reading, I'm actually going to head overseas to Rusk for a little bit of a look. There's a lot of news coming out of that part of the world at the moment. Now, they've just had apparently a 7.8, not just, but a couple of hours ago, a 7.8 earthquake off eastern Russia. Very much in the same vicinity that they had the 8.8 2 months ago that took out their submarine base, despite the fact that they're in complete denial about that. The satellite photographs say differently. This particular earthquake was only 9.6 kilometres down, so it was fairly shallow. I believe there was not a tsunami. I mean, there was a tsunami warning for those around the rim of the Pacific, but it was cancelled. No news coming out of Russia at the moment in regards to that. So that'll sort of figure a little bit into my reading. It is a fairly remote part of Russia. It is on the east coast there. As I said, the naval base was severely damaged 2 months ago, but it's not a highly populated area from what I understand. But we'll have a little glimpse at that. Financial reports coming out of Russia at the moment are saying that they are absolutely in dire straits financially. From what I understand, Ukraine drones have taken out about 21% of Russia's oil refineries. The latest one being in the Leningrad region, which was the Primask oil terminal, which is Russia's largest, what am I looking at? The country's largest oil port. I don't think it took it out completely, but it did really disrupt operations and did some damage there near Leningrad, in the Leningrad region near St. Petersburg. So being very effective. Now, from what I understand is the ordinary people in Russia, I believe the supporting for this conflict is down around 27%. I don't even know who that would be. Probably, the very old USSR type supporters. What's happening is you're starting to talk about, oh, absolutely, yes, things are fully getting exposed about the corroding old corrupt moneyed leaders, and that's what I was going to mention. Is apparently what is happening financially in Russia hasn't yet reached those upper echelons of those uh, in the elite. So they're not feeling the pain yet, and they're the ones that are the decision makers. Now, watching Hogarth's astrology, the normal people are really feeling the pain and having to look at the few pennies that they've got left. He was talking about the alignment under Vedic astrology of the stars, and apparently every time there is this specific alignment, now I can't remember what it was. I love astrology, but it sort of goes in one ear and straight out the other. I am not wired for it to actually get caught in the inside there. Every time this particular alignment occurs, Russia has a major upheaval, revolution type situation. Other news out of Russia at the moment. Ooh, okay. Volatile information coming out about Russia and its budget struggles, its money struggles, and its isolation. So I'm going to have a look at to see with that. But the other information that came out was that apparently 2 biological samples, biological material samples of Alexei Navalny was smuggled out of Russia after his passing. Footage from his passing in the cell showed significant amounts of vomit and blood. Now, vomits usually comes from poisoning of some sort. Anyhow, 2 independent labs have confirmed that Navalny was poisoned. We knew that, but the actual scientific confirmation is there. So I do wonder whether this is going to factor in to what's coming down the pike for the Russian elite. So I want to have a look. So we've got the earthquake, then another earthquake. So any rebuilding of that naval base that was attempted will have been, I'm getting for naught is the word I'm getting. The news that Navalny confirmed that he was poisoned. 2 labs independently. I'd be interested to know what type of poison that hasn't been released. And we have on the 12th of September, so 5 days ago, 7 days ago, there was another major Ukrainian hit on an oil refinery. How's this going to go? So I'm going to ask, okay, they did ask me to, it's turning into a nightmare situation as they can't get hold of their money. A lot of negative news coming out, and we've got the sword of truth. A new beginning of truth. People are demanding the war end, a truce, a ceasefire, a treaty, and an end to the unaliving. But this is also about the death of an emperor. Now, I haven't been able to pick Putin up. I'll just put those back randomly. So if they come out again, I haven't been able to pick Putin up for about 18 months now. I'll repeat it again. I do apologise for those long-time viewers that have heard this. I keep getting that the Orange Twerp was supposed to win the 2020 thing that happened, but Biden got it instead, which is why they overshot in 2024. But the expectation was that the Orange Twerp would win and continue on. And that's why Russia invaded when they did, because they were already in the machinations of doing the invasion, expecting the Orange Twerp to be the one that was sitting in the big chair. Didn't work out that way, which is why they've ended up, instead of 3 days, they've ended up in 3 years. 3 years going on 4 years, something along those lines. It feels like it's been forever. So basically what happened is then Russia, what I've been getting is, so they invaded, it wasn't 2021, sorry, not 2022, it was after the midterms. It was after the Republicans took back the Congress House. And that's when they basically burst the dam and did the invasion, is what I get. But I haven't been able to pick up Putin for about 18 months or so. And I keep getting the word Dmitry, and I'm pretty sure it's Medvedev. I did notice that the article about the Navalny said Medvedev did not make a comment. Not Putin didn't make a comment, Medvedev did not comment. Might be facing a revolution here against this abuse of power and betrayal and deceit and lies. And it could be somewhat unexpected, out of left field. Okay, but when it happens, it's going to happen really quickly, charging in. Okay, I'll just put those back again. So let's have a look. What, given this culmination, I mean, randomly, and there's that Page of Cups on the bottom, and we've got what, the Seven of Wands on the back foot trying to defend themselves against this Page of Cups. I don't think the elite / Kremlin will expect this. What is this combination? The dire financial situation, the earthquake off eastern Russia, confirmation of Navalny having been poisoned again. I mean, he's been poisoned before, but this was poison to no comeback. The biggest oil refinery being hit. How's this going to culminate? Come on down, let's have a look. Sorry, big waffle again as usual. Right, the sacrifice, the seeing things differently, the being paused. So what's this going to, oh, okay, sorry, just in case I didn't do it, entertainment only. And I'm using the Golden Universal Tarot. Being paused, being stopped, something being strung up and seen from a different point of view. Okay. The challenge is going to be the desire for the past. Now, you've got to remember, as recently as 5 years ago, perhaps, in Russia, there was McDonald's and there was, Prada, and there was, you could buy, it's very westernized. Let me put it that way. It was very westernized and people had money. And it is very much within living memory of the people, where it wasn't fabulous, but it was a heck of a lot better than where they are now. The challenge is the naivety of the past, but also the remembrance of wanting to go back to how it was when you could buy a bunch of flowers with your spare change on the roadside. That sort of energy, where your husband bought you flowers home. How many husbands are not even coming home? That's the challenge, is this energy. They might be in some sort of state of suspension because, well, what the heck do we do about it? I mean, we see what is, but I mean, there has to be a trigger point for a revolution to actually happen, for people to go out with their pitchforks and scythes and actually bring about a revolution. So this is perhaps feeling that they can't do anything, the people of Russia. They see what is, but they can't do anything. This may also be, thank you, what I'm getting from my guides, and if you hear them, put in a timestamp because they do get chatty on occasion, is that this could be the martyred sacrifice of Navalny being exposed. Hate to say it because I'd rather he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't perfect. He thought Ukraine was part of Russia. If you could hear that, that's my chair creaking as I move. He thought Crimea was part of Russia. He didn't oppose, not saying Ukraine, Crimea. He didn't oppose the annexation of Crimea, etc. He was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But he was still martyred. So this might be, thank you, this might be the martyring of Navalny being seen, challenged by wanting to go back to how it was. You went out to work, you earned some money, you had a coffee with friends, you bought some flowers to take home, you opened a bottle of wine when you got home from work. The kids played in the whatever. The nostalgia, because it was not long ago. I mean, a lot wasn't long ago too. I remember back in the 80s, late 80s, when I love this story. I worked for a bank. Young, what was I, probably 16, 17 maybe, it's at a stretch. But the supervisor at the bank, so this is late 80s, supervisor at the bank, she was 6 foot something and, fit as a fiddle, and you wouldn't take her on in a dark alley in a pink fit. This is the branch that I worked at, the main bank was about 4 blocks up. So at the end of the day, when everything was counted out, they had to walk the excess money from the branch up to the main bank. I don't know, this must have been pre, armoured vehicle days or whatever. They used to walk the money up in a ratty old briefcase that was probably chained to her wrist or something like that. It was not covered by insurance, that money, unless a man went with her. So she used to get the 80-year-old codger out of the basement, whose job was to check the obituaries against the accounts every day to see whether anyone that had an account with our branch died, to walk with her so that the money was insured. This is how recent this idiocy was. And then lunch yesterday with a friend who was slightly older. She remembered, and a job I had, they had only just phased out that if you got married, you got a marriage bonus thingy in your pay. She remembers when you couldn't get a credit card or a mortgage or a loan, and when you got married, you actually had to give up your job. That's still within living memory. This is even more recent. Sorry, I'll keep going. So Russia, what is happening? The strength of the women on the bottom there. Okay, at the foundation, the sense of loss, disappointment, betrayal. What has been lost? What have we had to give up? And again, I'm going to say the 3 things here. There might be these 3 things. The earthquake may not be the actual part of the trigger, but the Navalny being confirmed poisoned, the financial despair, and then the strike on the major oil port. 3 things will trigger this. So stewing in the emotional loss, the emotional disappointment, the desire for what was. So let's see where we go. In the past, yeah, they had money. It may not have been huge. They may not have had the freedoms that we in the West consider our freedoms, that we're fast losing in certain Western countries. But they had money and legacy and the 3 generations of family in the sunshine with the dogs, enjoying life, being able to stop in the street and have a gossip. But that is in the past. In the past, being able to, hand on a little bit. It's all in the past. Crowning this reading, we've got the 4 of Wands. Some sort of an announcement coming out from the big house. It's also women talking over kitchen issues over the dining table. Okay, let's see where this goes. There's Russia herself, Mother Russia, era of Catherine the Great. But this is also about the birth of something significantly new. What is hiding under the skirts, and what is she about to give birth to? So very powerful feminine energy here. This particular revolution that is going to come from the women. Russia's really struggling with food at the moment. I believe there was a lot of crops were destroyed by, well, first of all, the men are the farmers that would usually harvest the crops are not there. The women are trying to fill the gaps like during World War II. But they have other responsibilities as well. and not necessarily are capable in that they don't have the technical knowledge of, but they also had a influx of, I believe, a type of wild antelope that decimated crops. So, it wasn't locusts, but it was wild antelope. So, yeah, real powerful feminine energy here. They externally rejecting the propaganda, the placating propaganda, rejection of the placating propaganda internally. So what's going to come out of this? Feeling isolated, having some introspection, but also looking at a new path forward. How do we come down off this pinnacle? It hasn't started on the path, but I suspect it's already being discussed. As I said, there needs to be a trigger. There is going to be a lot of information that comes forward very quickly that they are bombarded with. The outcome, well, can be the stability, a dark horse coming forward with a new opportunity. Now, I keep getting that there will be an interim once the Kremlin is deposed. There's going to be an interim, and then they'll have free and fair elections. And I see the same happening for the US as well, actually, surprisingly enough. Very similar. This might be the knight in shining armour on his dark horse, the dark horse coming forward with the offer of an opportunity that the people will embrace with that 10 of Cups, as opposed to the oligarchs trying to dictate how's this going to go. And then we've got the young people rising up. It's going to be a bit of a back and forth, because here's the higher authority governance, but the king is going to be trampled off his horse, knocked over and trampled on, and the youth are going to rise up. Okay. Again, feminine power. Mature diplomatic energy. You've got the Sun card, absolutely, and the wheel is turning as you've got secrets being exposed and people are walking away at a fast clip. The ability to manifest, but leaving behind the manipulation. I think things are going to be revealed and people are no longer going to listen to the manipulation. There is something out of left field coming where there is this betrayal, heartbreak, loss, despair, betrayal, the new opportunity being brought forward, and then the tearing down. Now, I haven't got any fighting cards here, so it feels like it's going to be, yes, a revolution, but a soft revolution, if I can call it that. I'm not seeing pitchforks in the street here. This is going to be different. It's going to be the same, but different, is what I'm being told, than what has happened in the past. Don't ask me how. When it happens, we'll go, oh, that's what they meant. But it feels like there's going to be, I'm just getting a soft revolution rather than a, bloodied pitchforks type thing. So am I right? Is that what's going to happen? Have we had the third thing yet? Have we had the third? What is this third thing? What is this third thing? I'm just going to put a couple of cards. An announcement of a death. This is my Yulia Navalny card. And the decrepit old orange king. Wow. You've got the illusion of the poor choices, with the illusion of health, of something just too much. And then we have the rising out of left field with the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. And there's the fighting by the people. I'm intrigued with Yulia Navalny. A death, Yulia and the orange twerp. I'm just seeing what's on the bottom. You've got this juggling of money, the unbalanced contracts agreements, the Star of Hope, the secrets being revealed, the diplomatic, emotionally mature leader bringing forward a new opportunity and action being taken. We can keep going. There's still more cards there, but this pretty much sums it up. There's going to be a death. And I'm not getting Navalny's death because he's already gone. But this could be the passing of the orange twerp, or there's just a significant death. I might ask whose death that's going to be. Whose death is that? I mean, I can't say Putin's because as far as I'm aware, he's already gone. Smiling, grinning, dimpled cheek, laughing Putin is not Putin, the Putin. The disenfranchised who are really struggling financially, yes, we know that, but who's this passing? It's not the Pope, because the Pope is here. It's a king of some sort, a dictator of some sort. Who is this that is going to pass, that is going to trigger? Who is this? Be a military head. It's going to bring about a Tower moment. It could be somebody in the head of military, and the whole lot is just going to come crashing down. Look at this major arcana. The Lover's card, the contract and agreement being exposed, the rise of the feminine, and a peace deal. Now, I don't get Zelensky. I've never gotten Zelensky being unalived. But I think it's going to be a military head with the Chariot card there. I don't know who it is. I suspect when, this is the defeat of this masculine energy and the benevolent approval of the feminine. Doesn't mean they're male and female, but that's going to bring about a peace deal. Okay, watch for that. I'm just going to say it's going to be a head of military that's just going to bring the whole lot crashing down. I don't know who it is because I don't know who the head of military in that part of the world is. That would be in such a position that if they were taken out, the whole lot would just implode. But we will know when the event happens because we'll go, holy crumbs, that person. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Love to you all. Catch you shortly.